Hey y'all, it's Laura and welcome back to my go-to design series where we're going through each and every one of my go-to designs that I create foundations for my pages with. If you'd like to see the very first one explaining this whole series, I will link that at the very end of the video so that you can get caught up. There will be about 15 videos in this series and they'll be up every single Saturday for the next couple of months. So let's head over to the desk and see which go-to design we're doing today. For today's go-to design, we're going to be talking about making a scene. So in this case, the idea is to use your embellishments to create a feeling on the layout as though you're in the same photos. So in this case, these are photos of going to the zoo. I've done a picture-in-picture, making my layout smaller and then smaller again to focus in on these photos because I knew I wanted to create a fairly elaborate scene. I have here a lot of florals, a lot of bits and pieces that give you the impression of being maybe in a jungle, maybe in a beautiful forested area, or just out in the wild in general. It's very nature themed. And then I have this lovely little giraffe, or just a shadow of a giraffe even. And I really think this is a cool way to get the feeling of the photos and just envelop yourself in it on your layout. Now, this is pretty explicit. This is more so, even. And this is using a pattern paper that already has a scene and then building on it. So a pattern paper like this may be a bit scary to work with because where do you put your photo? Where do you put your journaling? Where do you put your title? All of those things. You don't want to disrupt too much of the background. You want to work with it and not against it. And so in this case, I just clustered my photo, my title, and my journaling over in one little spot on the layout and then let the background speak for itself. I've added a few figurines here and there, which are just fussy cut from paper and popped up on foam. Very minor embellishing because trying to compete with the background was not going to work. This way, you're using the background to create a scene which really traps you into the idea of being in a child's imagination, thinking about dinosaurs, thinking about how much they love their favorite animals, and that is exactly the feeling I want you to take from this photo. My son loved dinosaurs. He was obsessed. He could tell you hours and hours of information about dinosaurs. And I think getting a little peek into this type of a world would have been thrilling for him. He would have loved it. And so I think it's perfect that this background is so dinosaur filled. Still on that dinosaur theme, we have this layout. So this again is a mix of styles. I have a bit of perimeter happening over here. If you haven't seen that video, check the playlist for the go-to designs. Bit of a perimeter design here. I have 3 photos on a grid in the center, and then I've created 2 scenes on this layout. The first is across the bottom here, where I've got trees and a volcano and dinosaurs, and our title just tucked in so beautifully just there. And then I also have some fossils all up here, some tracks, and then these little circles that were stickers I've included to give the impression of discovering dinosaur fossils and tracks, because that directly relates to my photos where we were exploring a museum looking at dinosaurs. And so it really kind of brings you into maybe the childhood mindset of the exploration we were actually doing. And that's what I think. I think it just really grabs you and it pulls you in and gives you the real feeling of what it would be like to be a kid exploring a dinosaur museum. Now moving away from the dinosaurs, we have this one. So this one's a bit more subtle and it's talking about going camping. And so where do you think of when you think of camping? You think the outdoors, the forest, the mountains, the places you get to explore. And so this was a scrap lift from Danny V, and absolutely love the way she used triangles to create the idea of mountains. So I absolutely wanted to give that a try, and I even added in some bits and pieces that I thought made it feel even more camping themed, and a lot of word phrases that fit in as well. these clever little photos of my oldest son, definitely camping themed. And while I do think this is more reflective of the good parts of camping, where he was rather frowning about the tough parts, carrying giant packs, I also think that when he gets out into camps and he gets out into the wilderness, he loves it. He really enjoys himself. And I think just being out under the stars is just an incredible experience for kids. And so I wanted to capture that feeling with this layout. For our last layout of this design, like I said, this is a new one for me, but I'm really enjoying it. I have used a cut file of mountains to create a similar feel for this layout, but taking it even a step further, because I'm using a paper that looks like a night sky, and then using wood grain to kind of reflect on the earthy wood tones. And then I have my cut file backed with a variety of colored papers. It just has such a brilliant outdoor theme to it. And this is documenting my son's trip to Missouri with the Scouts for a weekend camp out. And this was the only photo that was sent back to me, unfortunately. And so I only have one photo. I might as well make a nice big scene to capture the feeling of the photo, to capture the essence of the experience, if you will. And I really, really enjoyed this one and love how it came out. So let me know in the comments below what you think of creating a scene, and if this is something that you may want to try in your layouts. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think it really takes your scrapping to an emotional level and not just a decorated level. So be sure to check back every Saturday for the next couple of weeks to see the rest of our go-to designs. And if you've missed any, then be sure to check out the playlist. I'll link it at the end. And until next time, bye guys.